Good afternoon, folks. It's Coach Blue for you. Today's topic, it's not grammatically correct, but metaphorically it is, and that's stay woke because you're a menace to society. Based on the things that are happening recently with the uh, the gatherings and the protest and the violence and things that are going on with that, the perception is growing daily in such a negative manner that blacks, Black Americans are going to be perceived or are currently being perceived as a threat to national security. Not sure if any of you really knows what that means, but President talked about it yesterday briefly that he would impose the necessary military force to gain control of these people, these terrorists. He went down a list of folks that, as he claimed, as domestic threats. We need to stay awake, stay woke, because you may not believe it, you may not see it, you may not even think it's possible, but there will be something drastic will happen to Black America here in the United States. Give you a brief history. Uh, this country has been known for uh, putting its citizens in concentration camps. The pretty word they use is called internment camps. During World War II, they put German Americans and Italian Americans in internment camps in reference to World War II, being that Germany and Italy were our threats. Their conditions weren't very bad, and their duration in those camps was relatively short based off their race. Their race, being German or being Italian, was predominantly Caucasian, so the threat was different than someone who was not viewed as a Caucasian. Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor in 1940, 43, 44, somewhere in that time frame. But after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, Japanese Americans or anyone of Japanese descent was gathered up and put in internment camps. I like the word concentration camps. Like I said, internment is a pretty word for national security. They were rounded up and moved out west to concentration camps because their ethnicity, their group, their race was viewed as a national threat to the United States based off of the acts of World War II and the bombing of Pearl Harbor. American Indians were moved to internment camps or concentration camps during that same time in the late 40s as a result of a conflict between two states, California and Arizona, about the Colorado River, about the river flowing between that area. They were actually moved off their reservation to an internment camp for the betterment of two states combating over a local territory. The basic word or the basic lifestyle currently for American Indians or Native Americans is a concentration camp. A reservation, what do you think a reservation is? Native or indigenous Indians to parts of the United States were all physically moved out west to designated areas, so-called reservations, for them to live. So they could be isolated, so that their threat could be contained, so that their threat wasn't a threat to normal society. They were all gathered up and put on a reservation. So reservation, internment camp, all pretty words for concentration camps. If we're not awoke, if we're not smart, this will happen very quickly for Black America. You say it's impossible. It's not. For those of us who don't die fighting or are killed instantly because of resistance, the remainder will be gathered up and moved to a concentration camp somewhere within the United States, just like they've imposed on those groups that I just mentioned. The other part of it is for those, if they think conflict will be too great, you will go to bed one night and wake up the next morning, and your whole community will be barricaded or surrounded by some type of containment, fencing, guards of some type of configuration where you will not be allowed to exit that area anymore. You will be contained in your local dwelling or area, neighborhood, community, whatever you want to call it. You will wake up one morning, it will be barricaded and secured, and that's where you will be locked into. I don't know if those of you who don't remember, do some history. The Berlin Wall was created overnight that separated East and West Berlin in Germany between Russia and the free world on the other side. A wall was constructed overnight that separated families and communities from each other based off of the threat of communism in the free world after World War II. That'll happen here. I promise you, you'll wake up and you'll be divided from your community, divided from your family and friends, because you'll be contained in your normal area or your basic area where you live, and you won't be allowed to leave because you're a threat, a menace to society, based off of the feelings, the sentiment, the deep rooted hatred, the deep rooted fear of folks in this country about how they perceive us. It's saddening. It's very saddening. But it's not far away. It's not. The country's been looking for a very long time to be able to contain our ethnicity or our group into specific areas for complete control. Complete control. I served in the military, and as I recollect and think about what's going on now, I'm actually saddened that I I served in that manner, for the simple fact that I gave my life, I risked myself for a country that hates me, for a country that doesn't like me, for a country that doesn't like anyone like me, for a country that would rather see me dead than to live or to prosper or to be successful. So it saddens me that I supported a system, supported an institution, supported a cause, for the fight of freedom, for the brainwashing I was in at that point in time, that I was part of that, um, serving and protecting and supporting an institution that doesn't support us or me, doesn't give a damn about me. Check my other video, Black Lives Don't Matter. We really don't. We really don't. So it's saddening that I served in that capacity. Some people are probably say, well, get the fuck out, leave, go to another country, do whatever you have to do. There are great things about this country, and there are horrific things about this country as well. But it's just saddening when you support or you're a part of something or deal with somebody or something that hates you solely because of what you look like, not because of what you've done or acts you've committed, but just because of who you are, what you look like. It's saddening. So um, I tussle with that, based off of that, and I know I have fellow service members who have served and gave their lives for their country and their families to commit to freedom for a better life, and we don't get much in return. We got nothing in return. When we're sworn in, we swear to defend this country against enemies, foreign and domestic. And everyone assumes that a domestic enemy is a terrorist or a terrorist group or someone who's trying to tear down democracy or tear down the United States or invade the country. It's not. It's anybody who, in this, be it the president, be it the government, be it anybody in this country who is basically trying to take away our basic rights that are installed by the Constitution from us and impose something different that takes those rights away. That's a domestic enemy. They're all over. And those of us who were in the service or currently are in the service are not defending this country against domestic enemies. The 13th Amendment will pop back in a minute. It is an active amendment, but the 13th Amendment was the amendment that abolished slavery. It makes it illegal to imprison or enslave somebody, with the exception as punishment for a crime. If Black America is accused or deemed a menace to society or a threat to national security, all of us would have committed a crime at that point. And guess what? The 13th Amendment is active and all of your rights are stripped because now you have committed a crime and it's a punishment that you can be enslaved or contained or you lost all of your rights. So America, Black America, Latino America, Japanese America, Native American America, any ethnicity out there, stay woke. Especially for Black folks now, stay woke because you're a menace. And you can read about the history all you want and see what I'm talking about is actually true. Well, you'll wake up one day behind a fence, imprisoned for the rest of your life because of you're a menace to society. It's Coach Blue for you, signing off. Please subscribe. Please share me with your family, friends. Uh, Sad times right now. Very sad times, folks. But hopefully, I will see you again. Hopefully, I'll have the opportunity of freedom of speech and actually have to share some words with you at a later date. But from day to day, things are changing rapidly. As I say in every video, I ask that you all gain understanding. Peace.